Now, The Hunt Palmer Show. You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Presented by Schneider's Golf Mechanics. Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Wednesday that feels like a Friday. But our Wednesday show is brought to you by Schneider's Golf Mechanics. Busiest travel day of the year, they say. If you're packing up the car and hitting the road, whether you're in the Baton Rouge area or outside, listen to us on the stream. We got you for the next 2 hours here on this Wednesday. And if it's longer than that, Matt's got you for 3 hours after that. We got Jacob Beck and Casey Gaines right here on the ones and twos, and we have got a lot to pack in to this Wednesday show. JD Piquel is always with us on Wednesdays. He will be in 15 minutes. Who's he got for the Heisman entering the final week of the regular season? It is a What If Wednesday. Got some of those coming in on Twitter. If you got them in the Bayou Ford chat, we'll do some of that as well. Best win, worst loss in the NFL and college football. I got to give you my pick for the Egg Bowl, which is tomorrow, and it is an SEC game, and we're trying to knock all those out as I try to stay above 500. My Survivor pick coming at the end of this hour as well. Luke Johnson, usually with us on Thursdays to talk Saints. He's here on a Wednesday at 2 o'clock. Travis Brown covers A&M for the Bryan College Station Eagle. A lot going on in College Station right now, so Travis will join us at 2:15. Got my SEC Power Rankings as well as Take It or Leave It. So we got plenty for you over the next 2 hours. Appreciate you hanging out with us, whether you're winding down a work week, hitting the road like we said, catching us on demand. Anyway, you're making us part of your day. We certainly do appreciate it. We are going to start with LSU and Texas A&M, and this is in the same vein as what I was talking about on the Monday after the Florida game. When you're a football team or a basketball team or even a baseball team, you like to control the tempo, the flow, the rhythm, the style of a football game or a basketball game or a baseball game. The game you're playing, you want to be the team that creates the tempo in the game, the style of the game. That's a goal every week. And quite simply put, when you play against this LSU team, you don't get to. You don't get to. You will be in a shootout whether you like it or not against LSU because you're not going to stop LSU, and LSU's probably not stopping you. And if you can't keep up, then you're Auburn, and you're just out of luck. But if you can, and you're going to beat them, you got to do what Alabama did and score almost every time you have the ball. You got to do what Florida State did and score almost every time you had the ball. You've got to do what Ole Miss did, score almost every time you have the ball. What Missouri tried to do, what Arkansas tried to do. But you are going to get into that type of matchup no matter what. And I think because I've had conversations on this show, on other shows, other podcasts, with other beat writers or people that cover other teams, like the Alabama writers, two different guys that I talked to in Tuscaloosa said, Alabama's had some offensive struggles. I said, look, they're going to score. They'll be just fine on offense. And the same thing happened with Florida. They're like, well, I don't know about Florida's offense. Sometimes it's hit or miss. Just wait. And both of those teams rolled up a ton of points and a ton of yards because that's just the way it is. And I would imagine on the flip side, there are probably some people in College Station who are saying, this Aggie defense is really tough, and we've got all these 5 stars up front, and we've slowed some teams down. No, you don't. You will not slow LSU down, period. Unless you knock Jaden Daniels out of the game, you will not slow LSU down. And on the flip side, even if you're worried about your third-team quarterback, they're going to move the football and probably score a lot of points because that's just the way it is with this LSU football team. You don't get to decide what type of game it is. It's already decided once you hit the field. So you either decide to jump in the car and keep up, or you get left in the dust. So the question is, can A&M jump in the car and keep up? And that's kind of where I wanted to start today. Statistically speaking, and I know that these statistics are a little bit watered down because you started the year with Connor Wigman, and then you had Max Johnson, and now you're moving on to Jalen Henderson, who I do fully believe will be the starting quarterback on Saturday based on what Billy Lucci has said over on TexAgs. There's not really much indication that Max Johnson's even practicing at this point. So you'll see Jalen Henderson. I understand these statistics don't factor in Jalen Henderson very much, only a game and a half, but it's what we got, so it's what we'll use. They're 5th in the SEC in scoring offense, which is fine. That's a solid offense. They've run it 10th best in the league, which isn't great. Passed it, 7th best in the league. That's middle of the road. Total offense, 8th, middle of the road. On third downs, they're 5th in the league. But they don't do well in getting touchdowns in the red zone. Statistically speaking, they're 12th in the league in that category. But, in recent weeks, 51 points on Ole Miss, 35 points on Ole Miss, 51 on Mississippi State. They were not very good on offense earlier in the year. Against Auburn, they weren't good on offense. Against Alabama, they weren't great on offense. Against Tennessee, they weren't very good on offense. But they've been a little bit better of late. Jalen Henderson is their third-team quarterback, as you know. He's a transfer. He's a third-year college player. He's left-handed. He's a good, not great athlete, and doesn't have a huge arm. He's a below-average talent for an SEC quarterback. Against Mississippi State, he was thrust into action when Max got hurt. 11 of 19 for 150 yards, 2 touchdowns, did not turn it over. Had 12 carries in that game for 60 yards and 2 more touchdowns. They'll run some read option with him. He'll tuck it and run a little bit. Again, he's not a great athlete. He doesn't look anything like Jaden Daniels back there, but he runs a little bit better than Max, obviously. Against Abilene Christian last week when they had an opportunity and Jimbo wasn't there, and you put in a game plan for Jalen Henderson as opposed to him coming in for Max. 16 of 23, 260 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns and an interception. He ran it 12 more times, so 12 carries in both games, just 27 yards and did not have a score on the ground. He's, again, a pretty average dude, but the guys on the outside are not average. They have some real talent out there. It starts, in my opinion, with Evan Stewart. He was a 5-star last year, had a great freshman season. He's the best package of size, speed, quickness, hands. Like, the total package, Evan Stewart is the best. Now, he may not play. There are rumors swirling all over the place that Billy Lucci has not tamped down that Evan Stewart may be portaling pretty quickly. And the question is, do you want to go out there in Baton Rouge with a third-string quarterback and play, or do you want to sit? And if those rumors are swirling and Billy Lucci's saying, yeah, they're working on that, this is just my opinion. That's a hard thing to come back from. Like saying, yeah, I'm probably not going to play. And then all of a sudden, oh, yeah, I'll play. Like, it seems like you would lean the other way eventually, right? But I don't know. That decision has not been made and announced if it has been made. They have other guys, though, for sure. Aniyah Smith is the quick guy. He's the slot guy. He's the playmaker, the agile dude who's got some speed to burn. They have done a terrible job of getting him the football this year. Terrible. He has 2 touchdowns, and in 4 different games, he's had 3 or less catches. This is a guy who had potential to go to the NFL early, but he got hurt last year, decided to come back, and they just haven't used him properly, in my opinion. 2 touchdowns this year for Aniyah Smith is weak. Noah Thomas is the size wide receiver, 6'6", 200 pounds. And then Moose Muhammad, of course, got great bloodlines with his dad, who was a great NFL player, and he had the one-handed catch in the end zone against LSU last year. He's come on and been pretty good of late. Those guys are very, very good on the outside. They have a trio of running backs that were very highly touted. Reuben Owens was a 5-star. He's a freshman. Le'Veon Moss is from right here in Louisiana, was good for them as a freshman and has been good this year. Amari Daniels, a very highly talented player, too. And that's where LSU has to focus. If LSU can somehow, some way, slow Texas A&M's running game down and make Jalen Daniels be the guy who's got to keep pace, Jalen Henderson, make him the guy who's got to keep pace with Jaden Daniels, you feel good about that. But if you allow Texas A&M to turn around and hand it off to Owens and hand it off to Moss and hand it off to Daniels, and you make Jalen Henderson's life easy, then you're going to be in some trouble because they're going to score a bunch of points. That was the key for LSU against Florida as well, and Florida really did get the ground game going a little bit. Remember, Etienne kind of had some highlight reel plays against LSU. Johnson also a very, very talented player. That was what Florida was probably going to lean on, and they ran it for 177 yards. Etienne had 99 yards and 3 scores. Montrell Johnson had 70 more. I don't have any expectation that LSU is going to step up and put the clamps on an A&M running game, but that ought to be mission 1 because Henderson is limited as a passer, and I don't think is going to go out there and throw for 346 and 4 scores. I can't say it would surprise me against this LSU defense, right? But I can say that it would be out of character for him based on his talent level and the amount he's played at this level. Job one, you've got to slow this run game down. And I don't mean stop it. I mean slow it down. If you can hold those three guys to 120 yards and 1 touchdown, LSU will win in a walk in the fourth quarter. If it starts getting up to 185, Devon Achane last year 230 and 4 scores, well, you're in for it in the fourth quarter, and it may be last man with the ball wins. It's going to be up and down, but that's where it's got to start for LSU defensively. Find a way to get Greg Penn and Whit Weeks and Harold Perkins, Mason Smith and Jordan Jefferson, get those guys ready to show up on first and second down and create some pass rush opportunities, because A&M, where they're talented at running back, they're talented at wide receiver, their protection has been atrocious this year. It's gotten 2 quarterbacks hurt, and it got their coach fired for $70 million because they can't block. They give up sack after sack after sack. That hasn't been LSU's MO, getting back there and getting pressure on the quarterback and creating sacks. But if you can slow the run down and get into third down, you can let that porous offensive line get to work. And when I say get to work, I mean miss slide protections, miss blocks, get bull rushed, just be the grease fire that it's been for 3 months. That's what you've got to turn it into. There ought to be a lot of points scored on Saturday morning in Death Valley. We'll get J.D. Pikel's thoughts on it coming up. We'll get Travis Brown's coming up in hour number 2 as well. Our Wednesday show is brought to you by Schneider's Golf Mechanics. If you're watching on YouTube and you see these little head covers right here, these 1045 custom head covers, my guy Matt Schneider sent me a text this morning and said, hey, I got some custom head covers. Come pick them up at the shop. I showed up. They're awesome. I had no idea what I was expecting when he said custom head covers. They're fantastic, and they will do it for you. Whatever the design, whatever you want. What kind of awesome Christmas present would that be? Just put it in the stocking. Fits perfect. It's a great head cover, great quality, and the design is fantastic too. I've got 2 here. I've got a white one and a black one. Schneider's Golf Mechanics right there on Bluebonnet, north of I-10. Great sponsor here of our Wednesday shows, doing custom head covers over there at the shop. When we come back, J.D. Pikel of On3 Sports is with us. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch, Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on all new 23 Ford F-150 Black Widow trucks, plus $2,750 discount APR and 5.9% for 72 months. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hey, boat owners, check it out. It is the holiday season, which means it's time to buy yourself a gift by taking your boat to the next level with our friends at Front to Back Boat Service. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your boat and get it ready for that warmer weather, whether that's trolling motors, HD sonar, anything and everything. The Sherman family's been at it for 30 years, and Devin's going to take you through 30 more. Find them on Facebook at Front to Back Boat Service or go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Voisin inviting you to join me and Coach Todd Black Wednesday night at 6 for Louisiana Prep Weekly. Our special guest will be Notre Dame head football coach Louis Cook. It's Louisiana Prep Weekly, live from Walk-Ons in Town Center, Wednesday night at 6 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Moving right along here, Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show presented by Schneider's Golf Mechanics. It is Wednesday. It is 1:15. Even though it's a busy travel day and holidays right around the corner, our guy J.D. Paquel has a few minutes for us. He joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. J.D., happy Thanksgiving. How are you?
Happy Thanksgiving, my man. Dude, I'm doing well. Wish there was more to talk about. Wish there was a little bit more rivalry juice this weekend. It seems like it's kind of boring. So I know what we're talking about, but I appreciate having me on, brother, as always.
We're going to be talking about it. Look, what is Florida State without Jordan Travis?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, I think they hope they're 2014 Ohio State. I think that they hope that they got, their own version of Cardell Jones and Tate Rodemaker. And I guess the big thing is we'll see. Subtracting Jordan Travis, I would say there's two things. One, this team has a tremendous response mechanism. Like, we've seen that multiple times, and some people are frustrated that we've had to see it too many times. Like, hey, why are you messing around with Boston College in the fourth quarter? Why are you messing around with, Duke so early in that first half, and then it takes, 4 quarters to really pull away? So I think, one, they have endured a fair amount, whether they should have or not. They've been able to, respond to adversity within the game. Now, this is different losing your quarterback, but that's the first thing. Really solid culture. I think that's been clear for the majority of this season. Second piece, they have a better roster than everyone they are scheduled to play. So they should still, even without Jordan Travis, be talented enough to beat Florida, be talented enough to beat Louisville. Now, talent obviously doesn't win you football games. Otherwise, this top 10 would look probably a little bit different. So I think for Florida State, the big question I have isn't so much if they can beat Florida or if they can beat Louisville. I'm sitting here saying, well, if they do find their way through that and they make it to the college football playoff, I wonder how dynamic they're going to be, because that's, you can kind of probably run the ball through Florida. You should be able to out-talent Louisville, but you got to be dynamic if you draw Michigan or Ohio State or Georgia. Like, at that point in time, is there enough juice offensively with Tate Rodemaker to do what you want to do?
The question of whether or not they deserve to get in without Jordan Travis, I think, is moot here. But for the purposes of you, college football fan, do you want to see them in the playoffs with no Jordan Travis, or would you rather see somebody else take a swing at Georgia or Michigan?
Ooh, I would probably hold my answer a little bit loosely until after we get through this weekend, because I really don't know what Tate Rodemaker is going to be. I mean, if he is Cardell Jones, I'm like, all right, let's gas this thing up and let's get Florida State to the playoff. I think the question is fair, though. Like, with a backup quarterback as an actual TV product, I probably would prefer to see a Washington or an Oregon or someone else who I kind of know a little bit more of what I'm getting. But like you said, I didn't even know that was a thought for people that, like, hey, should they be left out because they don't have Jordan Travis in the playoff? Like, I think they definitely deserve to be in. But from an entertainment standpoint, like, yeah, just full transparency, I would rather see someone who's a little bit more put together try and make a run at this thing.
Yeah, I mean, if Washington goes on, like, let's just play hypothetical. That's what we got a radio show for here. Washington runs the table. They beat Oregon, and they're undefeated Pac-12 champion. We take the Michigan-Ohio State winner, and then we've got one of them with one loss. And then hypothetically, if Alabama beats Georgia in Atlanta, and you've got a one-loss Georgia, do you want to see Florida State undefeated in that playoff, or do you want to see the loser of Ohio State, Michigan, or Georgia in the playoff?
Yeah, or a one-loss Texas.
Yeah,
like
that too.
One loss Texas, they find their way in. So, but no, I mean, I would take all of those just from what I would want to see.
Right.
I'd want to see one of those teams over Florida State, and whether that should happen or not is a decision that I'm sure Boo Corrigan and company will have to make at some point if we get that situation. But no, like you said, TV product wise, like, I love Florida State. They've been tremendous all year long. If they're undefeated, they should be in. But what I would want to see, no, as a fan, I'd want to see the one loss Georgia, or I'd want to see the one loss Michigan or Ohio State, just by nature of how good I think that game could end up being.
Oregon has one loss as well. They're hosting Oregon State in the Civil War. That game is on Friday this week. So it's a two-touchdown spread. Does Oregon State have any chance to beat Oregon?
I was surprised to see that two-touchdown spread, Hunt. I really was. I think there's probably a little bit better chance for Oregon State to win that game than the good people in Vegas would like to think. I'm curious how they bounce back, because they just played Washington, who, you know, is top 4 this week in the college football playoff, to a 2-point game. And so to come out and see this be a, 2-score kind of spread was really surprising. I think the path for them is what they didn't execute, or didn't finish rather, against Washington. The same thing I think is true against Oregon. Like, it's got to be a thing where you take the ball, you take the air out of the ball, rather, take the air out of the game, make Bo Nix watch the game as much as possible, and find something in the pass game to be able to offset what they do so well running the football. Because I don't think this is a thing where you can totally just run it down Oregon's throat with how good that defensive line is. I mean, they're allowing less than 100 yards a game. Got to have something in the pass game from Big DJU. There's a path. It's a narrow path, to be clear, but they definitely have a chance in a rivalry weekend, man. I mean, they're going for 2 in a row against the Ducks. So we'll see. Still would pick Oregon, but there's definitely a path there for Oregon State to get it done.
Ryan Day and Jim Harbaugh kind of being passive-aggressive in press conferences with their answers and non-answers, as it were. Pretty big game coming up in the Big House on Saturday. Who do you like?
So I like Michigan, but if Ohio State does it, probably either side, whoever wins, will get a tremendous soundbite. But I'm thinking back to Notre Dame, where Ryan Day is popping off something that Lou Holtz and fake Lou Holtz said together in a kind of funny segment on the Pat McAfee show. All of the very real unfunny segments that Jim Harbaugh has had at different press conferences over the years in regards to Ryan Day, like, we would get, I think, a volcanic eruption kind of press conference from him. Going to the game itself, though, I have a hard time putting my faith in Kyle McCord when it comes down to picking this game. Now, Marvin Harrison Jr. could just kind of hit the takeover button and that be the way that Ohio State wins. But I really think with how complete we've seen this Michigan team be at times, and the kind of get-right spot we saw them have against Maryland, where I think that probably creates some sense of urgency for them. I like J.J. McCarthy. I like the trenches still for them to kind of be the difference, and I think Michigan wins a 3rd in a row.
J.D. Pickell is our guest, host of The Hard Count on On3 Sports YouTube channel. Subscribe up, get his college football content each and every day. We chat with him every Wednesday here at 1:15. LSU A&M, early game, 11 o'clock in the morning here in Tiger Stadium. You think Jaden Daniels' train continues to roll?
I think so. And obviously that's a big part of the Heisman campaign is, can you go 9-3? If you go 8-4, is that out of the question? I think we see his Heisman moment, Hunt. I think there's a little bit of awareness here within the LSU football team. You would hope to, hey, we're going to let Jaden Daniels cook here. There is some things to play for hardware-wise for him. So I think the train rolls. I think A&M probably has lost all juice, if you will, when it comes to playing with no head coach right now. I think Jaden Daniels has a tremendous day, and I think he ends up kind of dropping the mic on the whole Heisman conversation.
That's the next question. I mean, what kind of odds do you give him at this point? Where would your vote be if you had one, and what can Bo Nix do? Do you think Michael Penix is still in it?
Man, I don't, and I've kind of been off of that train for a little bit just because of the fact that he has 2 games with no touchdown passes. Now, obviously, he could go out there and throw for 500 in the Pac-12 title game, and I'm like, oh, well, I guess it is Michael Penix. The thing with this is there's so much made around best player on the best team. And I kind of got to thinking, like, where does that thought even come from? And my guess is that at some point in time, the voters decided, hey, the best player is probably making this team the best team. He's having the impact to make them the best team, so he must be the best player. Whereas, when you reverse engineer that, it just kind of comes down to player impact is the thought behind that. And when you look at player impact with Jaden Daniels and LSU, I think it's hard to make an argument for a player having more impact, anywhere else in the country. Now, Bo Nix could obviously win it if he puts on a show in the Pac-12 title game, much like Michael Penix Jr. But, I think that Oregon is so good, and you don't dock Bo Nix for playing on a good football team, but just the numbers that Jaden Daniels is putting up, like he's already got Caleb Williams' Heisman stats from a year ago, even going into this game. So I think it would be a mistake to not give it to Jaden Daniels. I hope the voters do the right thing. I know the last data point's a big deal for a lot of people, but I really just think if we're ignoring Jaden Daniels' body of work throughout the course of this season, I think we're looking at it the wrong way.
I've had my opinion since Saturday night when we got off the air. I feel like if Bo Nix does not stub his toe, he's going to win it. By stub his toe, I mean either they lose one of these next 2 or he throws in a clunker. If he plays great and they win the next 2, I don't know if there's anything Jaden can do because of the stage. But if he does have a tough game in either one of them and Jaden does just hold serve and has his normal 470 yards and 4 touchdowns against A&M, then I think he'll win it. But I don't know that Jaden, quote unquote, controls his own destiny, to use a cliche. Sure. I think he's going to need some help out west.
I wonder if even Bo Nix just turns in a pedestrian day. Like, let's say Oregon State, it's a 10-point win for Oregon. Bo Nix goes for, let's say he has 2 touchdowns passing, 1 rushing, throws 1 pick. He's right around 250 through the air. Like, I wonder how much weight that would hold in the mind of voters, because it's not that dominant, flashy performance that, Jaden Daniels could very well turn in on that exact same day. So I don't know. We'll see, but I'm with you. Barring something, catastrophic for Bo Nix, who probably is the favorite in Vegas right now. But I really, really hope that we're looking at this and saying impact, Jaden Daniels, best player, numbers, like all those things just make for him to be the best player in college football this year.
What's one thing you got to have on the table tomorrow?
Man, so my family historically has not gone with mac and cheese. We're catering Thanksgiving dinner tomorrow. Okay. We got the wife's new husband in town. I say new husband. She is in fact her first husband. Just so we're all clear, a newly married husband. He's an Aggie, so he'll be dialed into the LSU game on Saturday. But it'll be good, man. So I think we're gonna get some mac and cheese going. I'm excited for that, and I'm very, very excited for that. My playoff probably consists of like mac and cheese, apple pie, stuffing, and then I'm going to throw turkey if prepped the correct way in there as a 4 seed.
What's prepped the correct way? Because there's only one answer
exactly.
Here. What's prepped the correct way?
Well, now I'm nervous that I'm going to – so Cajun style, I'm imagining, is
No, you just got to fry it. You got to fry it.
Got to fry it? Okay. I've had fried turkey one time.
Ugh.
I think we're getting a little brine turkey tomorrow. So, I'm optimistic. I'll obviously report back next week what how those things unfolded when it comes to the playoff standings. A lot could happen, but that's my top 4 as of right now.
Have a great Thanksgiving. Let's talk next week. Thanks, man.
Hunt, appreciate you, man. Have a great Thanksgiving, and let's get Jaden Daniels that Heisman.
We're working on it. That's JD Piquel, host of the Hard Count on 3 Sports. Subscribe to that YouTube channel. He's churning out college football content each and every day. It's that Jaden Daniels Heisman thing. It's created a little juice here, and I think it might create a little juice in the stadium on Saturday. It's hunting season. It's a holiday weekend. LSU's out of the West, out of the national championship. That would generally, with an 11 o'clock kickoff, be the death knell for any kind of crowd. But I feel like, and I'm not in most of your situations, I'm going to the game to work, so I got a free ticket to walk right on in, and I had to be there anyway. So, but I feel like there's going to be some Tiger fans that say, this is our last chance to watch Jaden Daniels. And it's not like they're playing Georgia State. They're playing Texas A&M. I'll go to this one. Maybe. We'll see on Saturday if I'm right or wrong. But I feel like folks are gonna show up for this one, and I certainly hope so, because I'd really like to win this one for a number of reasons. The first reason is the Heisman Trophy. The second one is because I just don't like A&M. And let's steal some of their recruits. All right? Show up on Saturday. That's What If Wednesday next.
The Hunt Palmer Show. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done, or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
On Thanksgiving Day, as we bring you 3 different NFL games. The early kickoff is the Packers and Lions. Immediately following that, it's Commanders and Cowboys. And then the late game, the 49ers at Seahawks. Again, catch all of these on Thanksgiving Day right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Moving right along. Hope your Wednesday is going well, whether you're in the office, out of the office. If this building's any indication, you may be out of the office. There are quite a few that have knocked off for the afternoon. I'm here until 3, then we're out of here. Matt's with you 3 to 6. So if you are participating in this busiest travel day of the year, we appreciate you spending some of it with us. We'll get you there wherever you're headed for this Thanksgiving holiday. It is Wednesday. It's just a little after 1:30, so it's time for What If Wednesday.
Time, space, reality. It's more than a linear path. Where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities. Follow me and ponder the question. What if?
All right, first one here. What if there's one more serving of a side left tomorrow? What do you do?
So I'm assuming this is for seconds because we ought to have enough of each portion for everybody. So this is when you're going back for seconds. Here's the deal on this. Tomorrow I'm with the wife's family. I'm probably not going to take the last piece. If I'm at my parents' house and we got that whole crew and there's one thing left of something that I really need a second of, we're going to make that happen. And sorry for folks that didn't quite get there for seconds. It's a free-for-all. Once the food's been blessed and everybody's gone through the line once, it's a free-for-all. But I'll probably have a little bit of restraint and a little dignity, a few manners, if you will, tomorrow with the wife's side of the family.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there. When I'm with my wife's family, well, actually, it's a little different though too, because how do y'all serve at each family? Like, how is the serving style?
So at my family's Thanksgiving, my mom and dad have an island in the middle of the kitchen, and everything's in a line.
Okay.
And everyone goes the same direction, and you come through.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a deal where like everything's on the table or anything like that. I think some people deal with that and you're passing stuff.
Yeah,
this is buffet style.
That's the thing. Like at my family, we've got everything. We've got everything lined up. You get in a line, everybody goes down the line. My wife's family though, it's the table thing where everybody's gonna pass the plates around. And so even I'm with you there, like on the wife's side too. Like even with that, it's like I'm not gonna if there's like something left in there and I have to ask somebody to pass it to me, like I'm just not gonna do that.
Yes,
that's not happening. All right, next one here. What if LSU loses on Saturday?
Ooh, not good. Jaden cannot win the Heisman if LSU loses on Saturday, in my opinion. I would be, unless they lose 62-56 or something. Like, I just don't see a path there with 4 losses. The loss on the last game of the season, that would be really tough unless it's just a ridiculous shootout. I don't think that it matters too much for this team outside of the Heisman. You're still headed to ReliaQuest or Citrus or whatever. And from the other perspective, like for A&M, I don't think it creates any like momentum for them or anything. They go 8-4. They've got to go get a new coach. I am curious if a Gabe Relaford, who might be coming to this game, some of the guys who were looking at A&M and LSU, it's not often that one game would be a sway. But like if Gabe Relaford comes to this game and Tiger Stadium's full and Jaden Daniels puts on a Heisman performance and they just trounce a lifeless A&M program, maybe that plants some sort of seed. I don't know. I like thinking about what could happen if LSU does win on Saturday. If you don't, that's just a buzzkill, man. Like that would stink.
Yeah. All right, next one here. What if Angel Reese does not return to the team?
That makes it tougher. I still think that there's not a ton of parity in women's college basketball. It's a top-heavy sport, and LSU would still be towards the top. I mean, they've scored a lot of points without her. They're playing some lesser teams. You've still got elite guard play. Haley Van Lith's an elite player. Michaela Williams is developing into a star. Flaugier is a second-year player who's a really good defender and has been good. And then, Nisa Morrow is a double-double machine last year. And I think she would rather have Angel Reese down there with her. So I don't think it would rule out national championship aspirations, but I think it makes things a lot more difficult. I mean, you look at what Angel Reese did last year, rolling up those double-doubles, controlling the backboards like she did, and being able to score around the bucket. Size is a massive commodity in women's college basketball, and she brings it. So I hope that's not the case. I hope she's back, like Kim says, sooner rather than later, but we'll find out when we find out, I guess.
It's kind of crazy to think that LSU has stacked up so much talent that they could lose one of the best players in the country and still be considered.
Yeah. Yesterday I referred to her as the most famous player in women's college basketball. That was a mistake. Caitlin Clark is probably more famous than her. So mea culpa on that. I think
it's close though. I don't think it's
It's close. I mean, Instagram followers and whatever, but Caitlin Clark's done some really high profile stuff. Got some nationwide NIL deals and whatnot. So I would say she's probably a little bit more famous, but Angel's close.
Yep. Next one here. What if, to offset the cost of paying Ohtani, Shohei that is, the Cubs put patches on their uniforms for $25 million per year?
I saw this floated yesterday, and
the uniforms
I sat down and I thought about it earnestly. I'm okay with it.
What?
If we've got to put, it's got to be fairly tactful.
The uniform czar himself is okay with a patch on one of the most classic uniforms in MLB history.
It's terrible. I feel bad about it, but I have to be honest with you and the listenership. If they're gonna I used to work for Arthur J. Gallagher. They're the corporate sponsor of the Cubs. Gallagher's literally on the outfield wall in Chicago. That would probably be the first phone call to Pat Gallagher, and they'd probably say, "Hey, you got first dibs on this," and they would probably take it. So you're probably looking at a Gallagher Insurance, which the Yankees have an insurance company. I think it's Scott on there as well. If that means I'm going to get the greatest talent in the history of baseball, which is what Shohei Ohtani is, I'm going to have to swallow my pride and take it. Now, if it's just a measure of, hey, we're going to create another revenue stream, we need the patch, I'm going to balk at that. I'm attaching Ohtani to this situation because if you're going to get him, you're going to have to pay probably $400 million over 10. So you're looking at $40 a year. So if you can cut that in half with a $25 million patch, then it makes, because marketing is attached to anything Ohtani does, because you bring in an entirely different country into your fold. And so that's going to be something they're going to have to explore, and anything's got to be on the table with this guy. If you're telling me I get Aaron Nola, who obviously signed with the Phillies, I'm going to balk at that. I'm giving me the greatest talent who's ever lived. I'll make a I'll make an agreement.
Is this something that's actually realistic, or is it just?
Yeah, I mean, David Kaplan is as plugged in as anybody in Chicago. He's worked with Cubs Talk Live. He's got sources all over that town, and that's something he brought up on his podcast yesterday. That if marketing becomes a huge deal if you get him more than any other player, because he brings Japan with him, and so that's something that they're exploring. It's just dollars and cents.
Yeah, it is. All right, moving on here to the last one. It looks like, what if John Rahm goes to live?
It's not what it used to be, because it used to be either or, and right now it feels like they're trying to work something out. This news shocked me this morning because Rahm has been so outspoken about how he doesn't really care about money. He only cares about
playing against the best competition.
And then the legacy of the game. He's a huge golf history guy. And if you put yourself into LIV and off the PGA Tour, you eliminate yourself from a historical perspective. The offer is rumored. These are all rumors. Nothing has been materialized, or certainly has not come from John Rahm's camp. But the rumor is $600 million. And at that point, the PGA Tour could buckle, because if Rahm goes, you're going to see a stream effect there. Graham McDowell and Ian Poulter aren't moving the needle.
No.
And neither is Bryson DeChambeau or Phil. And everyone in the golf world knows Brooks only took that money because his back was hurt.
Yeah.
So those guys don't move the needle at all. Rahm does.
I just don't understand how the PGA is apparently in a partnership now with LIV. How would the PGA be okay, or even would they just have no say in allowing one of their top 3 or 4 player in their league just to go to LIV now?
Yeah, because there's money. They can't, and it's what I've been saying since the beginning of this thing. And everybody's like, "Oh, you just hate LIV, you just hate competition." No, I've always been very down the middle with this. I hate that they're ripping golf in half. That's what I wanted to stop, and I despise that side of it. But I knew that the PGA Tour cannot keep up from a financial perspective. If this comes down to people that are making decisions based on dollars and cents, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
And apparently this TGL was going to help fend off LIV, because there's money in that as well. And now they've had to delay that a year because the fake building blew over.
Yeah, and Rahm had already backed out of that. So
so it's not great. I don't want it to happen, but we'll see. We still got some time. So that's take it or leave it. Hopefully John Rahm sticks around and plays golf with the real tour. We got to close out hour number 1. I got a lot of things to get to in hour number 1 to close out hour number 1. I got to give you my Egg Bowl pick, because that game is tomorrow. Got to give you best win, worst loss, my survivor pick, all that stuff. So we will do that to close out Our Wednesday first hour brought to you by Schneider's Golf Mechanics on the Hunt Palmer Show.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electric. Protect yourself from power outages with Boudreaux's Electric. They're a certified Generac generator dealer, a premier Generac dealer here in the United States. That means they're in the top 3%. It's not just hurricanes. Sometimes, once in a blue moon, an ice storm comes along and knocks our power out. You can prevent all that with a generator from Boudreaux's Electric. And I'll tell you this is great stuff. If you call Boudreaux's Electric between now and Christmas, I'm going to give you the phone number in a second. Between now and Christmas, if you call Boudreaux's Electric and tell them the Hunt Palmer Show sent you there and you'd like a Generac generator, they're going to give you some significant savings. Some significant savings from now until Christmas. So make that call. It's 225-300-9389, 225-300-9389, and get that generator installed in your home so that you don't lose power, whether it's during a storm, afternoon shower, hurricane, whatever the case may be. You can protect yourself with that with Boudreaux's Electric.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. $20,000 off plus no payments for 90 days on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. $20,000 off plus no payments for 90 days on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
His name was Cain. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Final week in the Prep Football Playoffs, and we get started Friday night at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview presented by Brock. Catholic High and John Curtis kick off at 7, and that's immediately followed by Louisiana Prep Scoreboard presented by Lake Urgent Care. On YouTube, Your View, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, a lot of picks here to close out hour number 1. Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show presented by Schneider's Golf Mechanics. Usually on Thursday we do best win, worst loss. I will do it here on this Wednesday edition. It's rivalry week. There's a lot of teams that could have some really good wins on rivalry week. And I think an honorable mention would go to Florida over Florida State, derailing their championship season and getting to bowl eligibility. I think an honorable mention would go to Oregon State if they could go to Eugene in the swan song of that Pac-12 edition of the rivalry and derail Bo Nix and Oregon's chance at the playoff. Those would be huge wins. But I can't sit here and tell you there'd be a bigger win than Ohio State going to the Big House, avenging back-to-back losses in that series to Michigan, maybe sending Jim Harbaugh out of town, maybe staving off Ryan Day taking the A&M job. I'm telling y'all, in College Station, they're talking about Ryan Day. And if you lose to Michigan 3 years in a row, maybe he wants to get out of town. I don't know. Anything can happen. Brian Kelly came down here. Nobody was talking about that. So Ohio State over Michigan, best win on the board in college football. Worst loss, I think, in this instance, I do have to go with Oregon. If you were to lose to Oregon State, that you've kind of spit on them, said they're little brother, they're not coming with you to the Big Ten. You've got national championship hopes on the line. You've got a Heisman Trophy hope on the line. And all that could be dashed at home if you lose to Oregon State. So I think the worst loss in college football would be to Oregon State beating Oregon, so Oregon would have the worst loss. Best win in the NFL, give me Buffalo. They're going to Philadelphia. Of course, the Eagles got a huge win against Kansas City on Monday night in Arrowhead. They come back home. They got the best record in the NFL. And here come the Bills, who are trying to punch their way through that tough East that the Dolphins are trying to control. I think if the Bills could go to Philadelphia and get that win, maybe a letdown spot on back-to-backs for Philly, that would be a huge win for Buffalo. Worst loss in the NFL, that's going to be your lunch at Thanksgiving portion of the card. If the Lions go to at home, play the Packers, and lose that game, that'd be really poor. The Packers stink. They showed a little bit of life. The Lions are trying to assert themselves as the class of the NFC and maybe get some home field advantage in Detroit, where they'd just be desperate for that when the Lions can make the playoffs. I think if they were to lose to the Packers on Thanksgiving, that would be the worst loss in the NFL. And I've got Survivor to do before I get to my Egg Bowl pick. We have gone through the NFL's elite at this point in Survivor. It's amazing that I've gotten this far, but I have. I took the Ravens, Bills, Chiefs, Niners, Lions, Dolphins, Seahawks, Eagles, Saints, Steelers, Cowboys. Like, we've picked a lot of really good football teams.
You're playing with house money at this point.
I am, but we're going to try to get as far as we can go here. And at this point, like, it's slim pickings, as we know. I'm going to go with a team that's not very good, but we're basically playing the opponent at this point, and I'm at home. I'm taking the Titans. They're 3-7. They're bad, but I'm taking the Titans at home against Carolina, who I think stinks. I bet against Carolina last week, and it cashed. This is clearly the worst team I've taken thus far. The Saints, not a great team
by far,
but this is the worst team I've taken. It's a 3-7 team, but guess what? They're 3-1 at home. So give me the Titans in this game in my Survivor pick for the NFL. And we got to pick the Egg Bowl. To this point in our SEC season-long against the spread pick'em, I am 45-41-1. We are 4 games above 500 for the season in the SEC. And the line on the Egg Bowl is 10. Now, this game is in Oxford. Mississippi State has no coach. They cannot play in a bowl game. Ole Miss is rolling. It's a massive game for them to try to get into New Year's 6. Probably need some help from Missouri in that perspective, but they're trying to get into a New Year's 6. Kiffin's rolling. They're trying to dominate the state, win recruiting. Like, this, to me, sets up to be 42-10 Ole Miss.
Also, State can get a bowl game. They're 5-6.
Oh, are they 5-6?
Yeah.
They can get a bowl game. I didn't realize that. Who knew? Big win last week against Southern Miss, I guess. Yeah. This sounds like 42-10, and I cannot figure out why this line is 10 points.
It's stinky for a reason, Hunt.
Give me the dogs. Clanger, cowbells. I will take the points. The Egg Bowl is the perfect game for Thanksgiving. Everybody is either drunk because they've been drinking all day, hungover because they drank in the morning and took a nap, full, delirious, maybe half asleep, and here go Ole Miss and Mississippi State, who hate each other, playing in front of the nation. And it's hilarious, and I love it. And I'll be tuned in. And there's no way the Mississippi State can keep this inside 10 points. That's why I have to take them. If I show up here on Friday and I was dead wrong because Ole Miss won by 30, then I was actually right, because this line makes no sense. Mississippi State is atrocious. And Ole Miss is good. and it's in Oxford. But give me the cowbell. Need more cowbell. Wednesday show is brought to you by Schneider's Golf Mechanics. If you see on the set here, I've got the custom head covers that they'll do over there. They'll do whatever you want, whatever logo, design, initials, name, whatever you need. They can get it done over there at Schneider's Golf Mechanic. Also an awesome place to either work on your game or just have some fun. If you're looking as a beginner or an avid golfer to get some instruction, Matt Schneider can help you with that. It's a great place to practice. It's weather control. There's no wind or shoddy grass on the range. You're hitting off these mats into these world-class simulators. They'll give you every bit of information from ball speed to launch angle to spin rate and all that kind of stuff. If you're into it, great. They've got video cameras, and Matt Schneider's a certified golf teaching professional, and he can help you with that. Or if you just want to have some fun, that's kind of what I like to do on the golf simulators. I like to turn on Pebble Beach, Cypress Point, Augusta, and just play the course into those simulators. I'm guessing most people listening have not hit into a golf simulator before. Check it out at Schneider's Golf Mechanics. They're on Bluebonnet, just north of I-10. That's it for hour number 1 here on a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We'll come back after SportsCenter with Luke Johnson. We'll also get to Travis Brown on the Aggies, SEC Power Rankings. Come back.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on all new 23 Ford F-150 Black Widow trucks, plus $2,750 discount APR and 5.9% for 72 months. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Jets quarterback Zach Wilson accepting his latest demotion without objection. Feels he's an improved player over last season, but doesn't believe he's being scapegoated, citing the inability of the offense to score touchdowns with frequency this season. Tim Boyle starts in the Black Friday game versus the Dolphins. Trevor Siemian's the backup. Wilson is the third QB. There is a reason New York stayed with Wilson so long this season after Aaron Rodgers went down with a torn Achilles week 1. ESPN's Kimberly A. Martin.
I think the Jets weren't ready to give up on Zach Wilson, because then you have to say, hey, we made a mistake in taking him second overall. They went all in on Aaron Rodgers, and with all the pieces, they're Aaron Rodgers pieces. And then the offense doesn't change really because it's suited for Aaron Rodgers. It seems like all systems failure right now.
Kimberly Martin on Unsportsmanlike. UConn star guard AZ Fudd will miss the remainder of the season with a torn ACL and meniscus. It was suffered in the non-contact. She suffered the non-contact injury at practice last week, and she will have surgery on her right knee at a later date.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show. You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Presented by Schneider's Golf Mechanics. Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
One more hour to go in this Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Friday vibes. A lot of Friday vibes. Even though we are actually working on Friday, we'll have a show for you. And we'll have OTB, Live at Lunch, Hunt Palmer Show, and AFR coming up on Friday. But it has Friday vibes here because it feels like a lot of people are knocking off for the holiday. One guy that's probably hard at work is our guy Luke Johnson. Covers the Saints for The Advocate down in New Orleans and joins us now because we won't be here tomorrow on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Luke, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you for making some time for us. Who's the guy on the bye week that needed it the most that should be ready to go in terms of being healthy on Sunday for the Saints? The Carr?
I mean, the guy who needed it the most was Derek Carr. Yeah. I don't know if there was really a good chance he would have played if they didn't have the bye this week. But I feel pretty good about him being available for Sunday's game. We still got to hear the official word that he's cleared the protocol, but I feel pretty good about it. And I don't think I would have felt good about it at all if they would have had to play last week.
You feel good about the Saints offense?
No, come on. We got 10 games to work with here, and it's just been one step forward and 3 steps back. Their running game is kind of in shambles right now. Their passing game for all the weapons they have hasn't been consistent enough. Their numbers are probably a little bit of a mirage because they've had to dig out of some big deficits late in games. So, I have no confidence in this offense right now, and they have given me no reason to feel good about them.
Talk to me about the running game. I mean, why is it so bad?
I don't know. It doesn't really make sense. They've got guys, Alvin Kamara, Jamal Williams, and Kendre Miller, just on paper, a very, very good running back room. Their offensive line has stayed pretty healthy all season. They've got the explosive weapons in the passing game that you think would take some attention off the running game. But it's all been bad. I mean, the only good part of it has been Taysom Hill running the ball so far. And even Taysom Hill, if you're looking at his numbers, he's averaging a career low in yards per carry. It's still really good. It's 5.2 yards per carry, but it's still the worst for him in his whole career. So I wish I had an answer for you. I don't know if it's if their scheme is outdated, if their blocking is just really not that good. I don't know. It seems like it's impossible for them to get to the second level. they have the smallest, lowest, I don't know what the right word for it is, but the lowest long run out of any team in the NFL this year. Their longest run of the year is 20 yards. And that's the worst out of it. I think they're one of two NFL teams with only one carry of 20-plus yards this year. It's bad.
That is awful. This is a big picture question here, but Michael Thomas goes on IR. What does his NFL future look like?
I mean, I think he showed this year he's still, like, he needs to be on a roster, right? I think I don't think you can put what he is suffering this year injury-wise in the same basket as what kind of ruined the last 3 years for him. I just also think that the chances of him being the guy we saw the first 4 years of his career, I mean, are probably pretty slim. He was probably never going to be a guy who's going to be able to maintain that pace. And I think a lot of NFL receivers start to slow down right around the time they hit 30 years old. I thought maybe Mike could be a guy who extended his career a little bit longer than some of the other ones because his game has never been based off of being super explosive. But it's just he's probably at this stage, considering his recent injury history, he's like a valuable number 2 or number 3, right? And not like the superstar that he was in 2019 and 2018.
What's different today that with the Saints defense as opposed to the first 3-4 weeks of the year where they were continuing that streak of holding teams under 20 points?
Well, their pass rush has just been abysmal. I mean, there's really no way around that. I think everything else in their game is pretty much held up. Maybe their running games kind of showed some cracks and they've faced some better teams that are better at running the football. But the fact that teams kind of consistently just have all day to sit back there and look at what's going on in that back end, I think that's hurt them. I think teams have been able to jump on them, and then by the time the Saints actually figure something out, it's kind of too late. So that's why you see him go out and add a guy like Jason Pierre-Paul, even though he's 34 years old. He had 5.5 sacks the last 2 years combined. I don't know how much he actually adds, but they need to do something. And maybe that the answer is going to be to start bringing Demario Davis or Tyrann Mathieu or some other second level pressures because their front four is simply just not getting the job done right now. And when that's happening, that kind of like unsteadies their whole foundation of their defense. All that said, I still think that they can finish the year with a really, really good defense. They still have good players at all 3 levels. And I think we kind of saw this last year too. They went through like a 3-4 game stretch where they were just kind of bad. I'm thinking about like the middle of the season, they got like 30 points put up on them by the Vikings. They had the Bengals put up a bunch of points on them. The Cardinals did. And then at the end of the year, they were awesome. And I think that's still possible. But they gotta figure something out with this pass rush.
What's this Falcons offense look like now that Desmond Ritter's back in the saddle?
I mean, they're kind of a mirror image of the Saints, right? They've got a lot of good players, and they're not getting a lot out of them. As somebody who owns Drake London and Kyle Pitts on my fantasy football team, look, I mean, it's just you thought they'd be better. Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, 2 really good running backs. They got a good scheme running the football. You had questions about Ritter, but like you thought, like with the weapons, that they at least have kind of a functional offense, and it hasn't been. Yeah, they move the ball okay, but they're turning the ball over way too much. Ritter, I think that the moment was definitely too big for him, and they've been disappointing, much like the Saints. I mean, these two teams are really, really similar. And it goes beyond like they've got the former Saints executive as their GM and Terry Fontenot. They have the former Saints defensive coordinator, Ryan Nielsen, as their defensive coordinator. They've got a couple former Saints in their defense. But like you look at the numbers and they're really similar. They're not scoring enough points on offense despite some of their yardage numbers. And defensively, they are faring okay, top 10, top 12, and a bunch of numbers, but the record doesn't really reflect it. So I don't know, man. It's just these are two very disappointing teams, and they're both coming off the bye. They're both, well, I guess they're up there for the NFC South lead, and this is really an opportunity for one of them to kind of take the head start going down the stretch run of the season here. But they've got to prove they can be something other than this disappointing version of themselves.
I'm laughing because Michael Rothstein, who covers the Falcons for ESPN, was on yesterday, and he was like, man, these two teams are not good. Like, in first place is on the line, and nobody in Atlanta cares, and nobody in New Orleans cares either. I'm curious your experiences in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Michael Rothstein, who covers the Falcons, was like, yeah, I've never seen this place full or raucous. It wouldn't surprise me if there were half as many Saints fans as there were Falcons fans on Sunday. Like, what do you experience when you go there?
Yeah, I think it's a really cool stadium. The atmosphere has never really been great there. And I don't blame them, honestly. Like they've got like a lot of really good stuff going for them there, except for the football team, right? like they've been good, really good one time in the last, 15 years?
Yeah.
And that ended with just like the most embarrassing Super Bowl loss in history. So I mean, this is not like crapping on Falcons fans, which like I know maybe some people want to hear, but like they haven't given that city or that fan base like much to really care about or root for, because they've just been this kind of also ran team for so long.
Enjoy lunch tomorrow, Luke, and safe travels to the ATL. We'll do it next week.
Sounds good, man.
Happy Thanksgiving. That's Luke Johnson from the Advocate Times-Picayune, covering the black and gold with us every Thursday, but we moved him up a bit here because we won't have a show tomorrow, but appreciate him for making a little bit of time for us. That's Saints-Falcons. We'll shift gears. We'll go LSU A&M. Travis Brown covers A&M for the Bryan College Station Eagle, and he's with us next.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show.
May not have Jersey Mike's for lunch tomorrow. If you want to, that's awesome, but you may not. But you may be cooked out after tomorrow. So if over the next few days, this weekend, tailgate, you're like, I'm done with the kitchen, cleaning dishes. Let's get some catering. Let's go get a sandwich. Jersey Mike's needs to be your spot. Highway 30 in Gonzales, near the new Heritage Shopping Center. Look, stop on in for lunch. Grab one of their awesome sandwiches. The original Italian, I tell you about, it's their best seller. It's what I had last week when I was in there. Ham, prosciutto, capicola, salami, pepperoni, all with that provolone on fresh baked bread they bake every single morning. Also, their hot sandwiches are fantastic. The bacon ranch chicken cheesesteak rocks. It's awesome. Order that chicken. They put it on the skillet right then. They cook it up, warm it up, put the cheese over the top of it. Good stuff over there at Jersey Mike's. And remember them for all your catering in the future. If you're feeding the office, feeding a birthday party, feeding a tailgate party, Jersey Mike's can make it happen for you. And Hunt Palmer Show listeners get 20% off at Jersey Mike's, Highway 30 in Gonzales. That's Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch, Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day AFR, presented by Pluckers. Brian Kelly updates his team's preparation. We'll preview the weekend ahead in the SEC with Russ Mitchell, and we'll take a closer look at the Falcons. Join us, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
SEC football power rankings coming up in 15 minutes, but LSU and A&M will play Saturday morning in Death Valley, 11 a.m. start. Travis Brown covers Texas A&M for the Bryan College Station Eagle, and he joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Travis, thanks so much for a little bit of time. How are you?
Doing well. Just gearing up to eat a lot tomorrow and watch some football this weekend.
Anything going on in College Station we need to know about?
Nothing yet. There's a lot of phone calls and a lot of texts, but nothing yet.
What was the reaction when the move was made after that big win over Mississippi State?
I mean, I think it was a surprise. I knew that, things were definitely trending down and people were talking about wanting to make a move, but case in point, all of me and all of my reporter friends on the beach, we were all sound asleep when the news started coming out and had to quickly get everything on and get over to the Bright football complex. So the timing of it definitely surprised us.
Yeah, football beat writers not real active on Sunday morning at 7:30. I do post-game show, so I'm doing nothing at 7:30 on Sunday morning. How close was Jimbo Fisher to getting over the hump at Texas A&M at a given point?
Well, it's such an interesting case study because you go back and really the prime season was that 2020 season with the pandemic schedule, the 10 SEC schedule games and going to the Orange Bowl. And, that's kind of where his catchphrase of "we ain't done yet" came from. But from that point on, it didn't really manifest into anything better. Now, you could also go back and say one of the reasons, kind of combining your two questions, one of the reasons why it's so surprising is, they were a 4-loss team heading into that Mississippi State game, but all 4 of those losses were, I think, by a combined our average 5 points losses. I mean, they were in all those games. And you talk about Alabama, Tennessee, Miami, teams that either at the time or still are good teams. And so the margin between a real successful season and a real unsuccessful season was really small this year. So, he won the recruiting battles, but it just never really manifested itself on the field.
Let's talk about this A&M team before we talk about what's next in College Station. The defense statistically has been fantastic. What have you seen from that group, and what's their strength?
Sure, it all starts at the defensive front. That was kind of the bell cows of that 2022 recruiting class that was, the best in the history of ever. But they've led the nation in sacks at certain times this season. They've led in tackles for loss. They're really good at getting penetration into the pocket and the run defense stopping running backs and people behind the line. The interesting thing is, since really that the Ole Miss game, things have trended a little bit downward. They only had one sack against Abilene Christian, and they were able to run the ball pretty well on them. I don't know how much of that is just fatigue from the week or fatigue from the season, or if it was just an anomaly. But it is interesting to see is if things are tiring out a little bit, or if there just was a bump in the road, because it certainly hasn't looked the same over the last 2 weeks. But if they can get back to the way they were mid-season, I mean, it was as dominant of a defensive front as there is, led by linebacker Edrin Cooper, who is just flying around the field and has been one of Pro Football Focus's top-graded linebackers throughout the entirety of the season.
What about the secondary?
Up and down. Actually, the funny part is the secondary had one of its better games against Abilene Christian, but you can argue that the secondary was the reason why they lost the game against Alabama and kind of possibly a little bit against Tennessee. They've had their up and down moments. They were unhealthy against Ole Miss, had to start two unexperienced guys at cornerback, but as long as the pass rush is getting in on the quarterback and not allowing him time, the secondary's been okay. It's been serviceable, but it has had moments where it's let guys get behind them and given up some chunk yardage. So interesting to see if kind of on the same thought as the defensive front, if they're on a little bit of an upward trajectory heading into this game, or kind of what's going on there with them.
What do you think their plan is on Saturday? Because nobody's found an answer yet, except knock Jaden Daniels out of the game, I guess would be Dallas Turner style. That's one way to do it, but as long as he's out there, nobody's really figured it out.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a figuring it out with him. He's been so good this year. Definitely one of the front runners on my Heisman watch. But I think you just got to continue with the same kind of game plan that they've had defensively and just try to get into the pocket, cause havoc, and try to get him down behind the line. This will be an interesting test for him if that defensive front plays as strong as they have through the majority of the season, because they haven't really allowed a lot of runners, a lot of running quarterbacks, or a lot of space to work in the pocket. So that'll be interesting. But a lot of quick throws, a lot of slants, things like that can really affect an okay defensive secondary, and that might be the game plan, is just to throw their way into the game and then run it when things open up.
Let's switch sides of the ball. Do you believe Mac Johnson will play on Saturday?
As of the earlier in the week, he wasn't practicing. I would, if I was betting, I would bet it's Jalen Daniels. I haven't followed up on that to see if anything has changed just quite yet. I know Max Johnson would like to come back and play in this game because of, old teammates and friends and whatnot. But, there's also the fact that this offense has clicked a little bit better with Jalen Henderson, at quarterback. He runs that RPO, read option, very college-esque style of offense that can get a little bit of rhythm, move with tempo. He looks really good against Mississippi State, and he might just be the best option to try to win this game, because I think if A&M is going to have a chance to win this game, they're going to need to score a decent amount of points. I think he's the guy to do that if he plays like he has the last 2 weeks.
Some buzz around Evan Stewart. Do you know anything about the sophomore wide receiver and his intentions this weekend?
I have not heard anything more than just the buzz that's out there and trying to reach out. He has a pretty quiet camp, and so I'm not sure about that one yet. But that is an interesting study. He's been out since before the Ole Miss game with what Jimbo Fisher described as basically like a thigh bruise, and people had already started talking on social media about the possibility of him transferring or him making quote unquote a business decision. And he's put out tweets out there like, why can't I just be hurt? These kind of innocuous tweets that seem to be responding to some of the chatter. But then you hear this rumor that he might not be playing and that he might be transferring. And so, we'll have to see. But it's been a little bit of seesaw affair with him on where his thoughts and intentions are.
This is more based on the statistics page and not watching every snap of A&M football, but it feels like Ainias Smith has not gotten as many touches as I would think he would get. Why is that, and do you expect that to potentially change on Saturday?
There's a couple factors in that. I think early in the season, knowing that he was the guy, they doubled him, they bracketed him, and forced other teams forced the quarterback to go to other receivers. But they actually have a pretty deep wide receiver group. That's why with Evan Stewart kind of being in and out of the lineup, they've still been able to be pretty good with Ja'Day Walker, Noah Thomas. You have Ainias there. You have Moose Muhammad, all very capable wide receivers. So they've been able to kind of distribute the ball around a little bit more than they have in years past. And I think that's helped the offense. But I do think they'll try to get the ball to Ainias, but they're not necessarily going to force it. And they have a decent amount of options out there to go to. So, yeah, I don't think the stats have been quite where Ainias would have wanted them to be, but he certainly has made an impact this season, and I think it was a worthwhile season for him to come back and get one more, especially missing most of the season last year due to injury.
All right, after the game goes final, A&M will play in a bowl game, but I think all eyes fixed on the coaching search and what Ross Bjork is able to do. Where do you think a couple of options are for him to go next?
I when this first all came out, I thought that the first two phone calls that you need to make were Mike Elko and Jeff Traylor. Mike Elko, of course, the Duke head coach who was the defensive coordinator here in A&M for 4 years, and then Jeff Traylor, who is a kind of up-and-comer down there at UTSA and has good ties in with the high school coaching association here. I think that was my first two laundry list of things to look at was you have the talent in the cupboard with A&M to be a good team and not need a massive rebuild. And you'd want to bring in a guy that already had relations with them, recruited a lot of them. That would be Mike Elko. And especially on the defensive side of the ball could potentially keep a lot of this team intact, keep them out of the transfer portal and make it a little bit quicker turnaround. Plus you got Elijah Robinson, who's the interim head coach, who is beloved by the whole team and was been a big part about recruiting this whole roster. I know even Ross Bjork has said that one of the key factors in making a hire is making sure that they keep Elijah Robinson on staff, and Elko hired him. So that would be an obvious choice to kind of keep some continuity. I think the other thing you look at in the Jimbo Fisher era is that he didn't necessarily get along great with the Texas High School Coaches Association, who everyone knows wields a decent amount of power in the state, more so than probably any other state. When he first got here, he was talking to 7-on-7 coaches about recruiting instead of the high school coaches. He skipped out on the Texas High School Coaches Association coaching school conference this year where, just about every coach in the state of Texas, plus like Shane Beamer, Mac Brown, Nick Saban come and talk to these coaches, and he just sent Elijah Robinson the day before, and that kind of rubbed some people the wrong way. Jeff Traylor was a former Texas high school coach. He is one of those guys, and I think if they were wanting to put up a candidate for one of the flagship schools in the state of Texas, they probably want one of their guys and Jeff Traylor in there. Now, since things have progressed, it seems like every day there's more and more bigger names getting thrown out there, and I don't know what the validity is of that, but there is the fact that they're not going to offer another guaranteed contract in this cycle. They can't make that mistake again with what happened to Jimbo Fisher, especially since they're going to be paying two head coaches at the same time. And so I don't know if you want to, some of the names floated out there like the Ryan Days or the Dabo Sweeneys or the Mike Norvells or the Dan Lannings, if you're going to haul them away from their current situations without having a guaranteed contract, I don't know that that's going to happen. That might limit the pool a little bit of who you're going to have. And Bjork has been out there saying that it's going to be an incentive-based contract to where if you make different levels of the now 12-team college football playoff, you're going to get more money, but they said they're not giving bonuses for going to the Liberty Bowl. So that'll be interesting to see how that narrows the candidate pool when we start getting some more clarity about what direction they're going.
Coaching search is so much fun. Travis, have an awesome Thanksgiving tomorrow and safe travels on I-10 to Louisiana. Thanks, man.
Hey, you got it.
Travis Brown covers Texas A&M for the Bryan College Station Eagle. It's, there's always politics. Talking about Jimbo not getting along with the Texas High School Coaches Association, and they got a bunch of guys, and he's sending Elijah Robinson. Politics. You got to figure things out. Jimbo didn't quite ever get it figured out in College Station. Now he's a rich man with a lot of time to spend on the ranch. We'll come back with my SEC football power rankings next.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show.
LWCC is Louisiana Loyal, elevating and celebrating champions of Louisiana. I've been telling you about champions of Louisiana for a year and a half here on the Hunt Palmer Show. Marucci Sports is the most recent. Just founded right here in Baton Rouge in a backyard shed. Now they're among the leaders in the baseball equipment game. And it's not just that they sell a lot of bats. It's the fact that they've got their baseball performance center, which brings people from all over the country to participate in what they've got to offer and to work there, bringing great talent into Louisiana, keeping top-tier talent here in Louisiana. Plus, they're a boon to Baton Rouge's tourism situation every single summer with the Marucci World Series, which brings in thousands of youth coaches, athletes, parents every July. Marucci Sports is a champion of Louisiana. If you know of a champion of Louisiana, nominate them at lwcc.com/champions so we can tell their story. Marucci Sports is a champion of Louisiana. LWCC is Louisiana Loyal.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045espn.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644.
Friday's OTB. Hope you had a very happy Thanksgiving, but now it's time to lock in for a big weekend of football. LSU's entire season on the line. Saints Falcons on Sunday. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Our Wednesday show is brought to you by Schneider's Golf Mechanics. Look, if you got a pitching wedge you've had for a while and maybe broke, well, darn it, I'm going to have to go spend a bunch of money on a new golf club. Well, you don't have to. Schneider's Golf Mechanics will fix golf clubs for you. Fix your clubs, fix your game. That's their motto over there at Schneider's Golf Mechanics. So if you've got a club that's a little loose, needs to be re-gripped or just broken, bring it over to Matt Schneider at Schneider's Golf Mechanics. They can get it fixed up for you. And again, I said this in the first hour, but I'm sure a lot of you have not ever hit into a golf simulator before. Check it out over at Schneider's Golf Mechanics. It's really fun to just go out there and play. You can play games against your friends. They've got little things that you can do there. They can tee up a famous golf course for you, and you can play that. Includes chipping and putting, the whole thing. Or if you want to practice, you can do that at Schneider's Golf Mechanics as well. You can get lessons. There are membership options. It's a really, really cool indoor facility there. The weather's about to be a little chilly, and it gets dark really early. So if you think you got to put the golf clubs away until April, you don't. You can just do it indoors at Schneider's Golf Mechanics. When I was over there today picking up these head covers that I've got on the set, Matt said that a couple people had come in saying, hey, they heard about you on Hunt's show, and they come on in. Go check them out. It's on Bluebonnet, just north of I-12, Schneider's Golf Mechanics. All right, we do it every single Wednesday, and we'll do it one more time after this. Let's get to our SEC football power rankings.
Hunt's SEC Power Rankings. When you want the definitive, unquestioned pecking order of the SEC, who do you call? Hunt Palmer. Take it away, Hunt.
I'll take it away. We're going to get, after next week, we're going to get into what I had before the season started with SEC Power Rankings. I'm sure that'll be quite a hoot. I haven't gone back and seen what it was, but I'm pretty sure Missouri was 13, so that's exciting. Georgia was probably first, though, and they're first today in the SEC Power Rankings, 11-0, 8-0. They've set the record for most consecutive games won there. An absolute juggernaut. Oh, by the way, Georgia defensively, the most they've allowed this year in any game, 21 points. They've been pretty salty on the defensive side of the football. Bama is number 2. We'll see those two teams in Atlanta next week. Bama 10-1 on the year, 7-0 in league play. Their last 4 games, they found some offense, 47.8 points per game with Jalen Milroe and company on the offensive side. It helps when you play a nobody last week and you play LSU, but you got to play who's on the schedule. They've scored a lot of points. I did this last week. I'm sticking to it. Missouri is the third best team in this league. They're 9-2 on the season. Their 2 losses are to Georgia and LSU. That's an elite team and an elite offense. It's probably the best team in college football they lost to, and it's the best offense in college football they lost to. Great job by Eli Drinkwitz, Blake Baker, and company of having that team prepared and ready to play. They have dominated the middle class of the SEC. They dominated Florida, dominated Kentucky, dominated Tennessee, dominated South Carolina. Really, really impressive stuff by Missouri. They're the third best team in the league. I do have Ole Miss at 4. They're 9-2, 5-2 overall. That head-to-head over LSU is probably carrying a lot of weight there. Ole Miss's defense has shown up a time or two here. LSU's hasn't. Ole Miss's offense isn't as good as LSU's, but it was when LSU went to Oxford. So I'll put Ole Miss there at 4, and I do have LSU coming in at 5. That's the same 1 through 5 I had last week: Georgia, Bama, Missouri, Ole Miss, and LSU. At number 6, this one's clear to me. It's A&M. They've got 3 SEC losses, all by 1 score. This sounds ridiculous, and I'm not trying to tap dance on any graves here, really. It's Jimbo was close. Like, he had some solid teams. He just never produced a great team. They had the one COVID team, and he just consistently produces statistically solid teams who play tight games and lose. And that's what they were this year. They are, to me, better than everybody else on this list. And I know that Tennessee is 7, and Tennessee beat Texas A&M in Knoxville. I still think A&M is every bit as good as Tennessee. The Vols have laid some absolute stinkers. A&M has not put out a stinker yet. They just don't win any important games. Tennessee, I've got at number 7. They got beat by 1,000 at Missouri, but everyone below this team has had weeks like Tennessee had last week. I'm trying not to play recency bias here. I'm trying to take the entire sample size. If you just go on last week, Tennessee got annihilated. They were terrible. But everyone's had that week. I've got Florida at 8. And you would say, well, Florida, played tough in Missouri. I got you. And Florida beat Tennessee, I know, but Florida got annihilated by Kentucky. I'm going to put that in. They don't have Graham Mertz anymore. They're up a spot for me here because they played tough against Missouri, but I've got Florida at 8. Kentucky is down at 9. They have lost 5 of 6. they can wreck their rival season. Louisville comes into that game ranked number 10. That game is in Louisville, and Kentucky would do itself well to win that game. But it's been a real slide for Kentucky after beating up on an atrocious early conference schedule that included Vanderbilt right after its non-conference game. So I got Kentucky at 9. South Carolina moves up. I've been harsh on the Gamecocks, and they deserve that, quite frankly, because they stink. But they are 5-6, 3-5 in league play. They're one game away from a bowl. Statistically, they're bad. The results haven't been awesome, but they're the best of the rest at this point. I do have to dock Auburn one spot. I'm not going nuts over the New Mexico State game. It was ugly. It was terrible. They'll play better in the Iron Bowl on Saturday. I'm certain of it. So I'm not going to go off the reservation here on Auburn. Just a pathetic showing, whatever. But I got Auburn at 11. They're 6-5, 3-4 in league play. And then I've got the same 3 at the bottom as I did last week. I've got Arkansas at number 12. I know that Mississippi State went up there and beat them, but Mississippi State's got really no other skins on the wall, and that was a 7-3 game. Arkansas at least played tough in Tiger Stadium. They went down to Florida and won. They scored some points last week. They've got a good quarterback-ish. I've got Arkansas at 12. I've got a feeling before the season starts next year, Arkansas is going to come in close to right where they are right here, number 12 in the power rankings, because I think they've made a big mistake in keeping Sam Pittman around to coach that football team. Mississippi State is at 13. They're awful. I don't know why I picked them to cover the 10 points tomorrow. It has been brought to my attention that I'm an idiot and did say that game is in Oxford. It's in Starkville, but I'm not that bright. So that's why we mess things like that up. But I guess it's good news that people are listening, because a few people texted me to tell me that wasn't right. So Mississippi State, I've got at number 13. They're 1-6 in league play, and Vanderbilt is just beyond bad. They're number 14, same as last week. So your SEC football power rankings this week. Georgia 1, Bama 2, Missouri 3. Feel real confident about that. Got Ole Miss in there at 4, LSU at 5. Texas A&M comes in at number 6, even though they fired their coach and they don't have a quarterback. Tennessee is there at 7th, Florida 8, Kentucky 9, South Carolina at 10. Auburn down a spot to number 11. Arkansas is 12, Mississippi State at 13, and the Vanderbilt Commodores anchoring down at the bottom of the SEC power rankings. That's your rankings for this Thanksgiving week. All right, we've only got one segment left to go here on a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. I said this earlier. There are just the Friday vibes I'm feeling right now are incredible. I'm sure you're probably feeling them as well. If you've already left the office for the day, never went into the office today, or you're on the road traveling wherever you may be careful out there. And thanks for locking us in here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Matt's going to be live and local today as well. We'll all take the day off tomorrow, celebrate with some family, enjoy some time away. And then we're back in action for a Football Friday coming up in a couple of days, getting you ready for LSU and Texas A&M rivalry weekend, and Saints Falcons coming up on Sunday. So come back with us to close it out on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com. David Duvall and his team have been at this 30 years. You do something for 30 years, probably got a pretty good idea of what you're doing. And David Duvall and his team absolutely do. Go to the website, OneBathAndClosets.com. Check that free consultation box. Have them come out and tell you what they can do for you in terms of remodeling, redesigning your bathroom or your closet. They can do a full-scale bathroom renovation. They're a licensed contractor, everything, non-slip floors, walk-in tubs, sub-to-shower conversion, the whole lot in the bathroom they can handle. They can handle you in the closets as well. Maybe it's a brand new closet that you need. You just don't have enough space. They got to knock some things out and make it happen. Maybe you've got the space, you don't use it properly. They need to come in, put in some shelves, cubbies, mirrors, different things they can do to create space for you if you've got too much clutter. But you won't know what they can do unless you go to the website. OneBathAndClosets.com is that website. Financing options are available at One Bath and Closets. So give them a look. OneBathAndClosets.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
His name was King. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade, time to slip away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of inside of me.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The best.
Hannegriff. Join me and Jimmy Ott for the final Football Friday Lock of the Week presented by Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments from Ruffino's. We start at 10 a.m. on Friday with football all day long. Live at lunch, 10 a.m. Friday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Congratulations to Anthony Smith. Anthony is our Week 12 winner in the 2023 Twin Peaks College Football Pick'em Contest and wins a Twin Peaks gift card. Don't forget to make your picks for the final week of this season's contest, Week 13, by noon tomorrow. Play the 2023 Twin Peaks College Football Pick'em today at 104.5ESPN.com.
Beck, how you feeling about my pick for Mississippi State covering the 10 points in Starkville tomorrow?
I feel really good about it because that line doesn't make any sense. Ole Miss should be at least
16.
At least 2 touchdowns, if not more.
State's awful, just awful. I have a pick on an awful football team.
Yep.
But it's the Egg Bowl. Anything can happen, I suppose. All right, let's close it up. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. Hit the wrong one there. They both say take it or leave it. Sometimes you get a little mixed up. Anyway, let's start off with Wake Forest head coach Dave Clawson, who I will say this quote was I seem to be a little in jest. He was laughing. Maybe he seemed to be trying to laugh off the situation, but he was critical of Notre Dame's love for Sam Hartman on senior night, saying, quote, "Here's a guy that we recruited and we developed. Like, you only dated him for a couple of months. It can't be love. We're the ones that love him. We had 5 years with him. You rented him for a season. They bought him and rented him for a year, and now they love him, ? Clawson has jealous ex vibes. Take it or leave it."
Yeah, maybe just leave that one alone, Coach Clawson. I'll take it. I mean, that's the era. That's where we are. If Wake Forest has a really good quarterback, he's going to look elsewhere. That's just where you are in the pecking order. It just is, and you're just going to have. I'm sure he's dealing with it, but it's just the reality of what we've created here, and the powers are going to get the great players, and the lower level Power 5 teams are going to be feeder schools. Like, that is just going to be the case far more often than not. So just leave that one alone, Coach Clawson, and go find you another Sam Hartman.
All right, we've got a rapid fire here with Thanksgiving options here.
Okay.
Starting off with, well, this I guess isn't a Thanksgiving option, but turkey trot. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. Like, if you want to do that, that's great. My wife's doing a turkey trot tomorrow with the kiddo. I'll be in bed because I don't really want to get up and run 3
Not going to
miles.
support them, huh?
They got my support. I'm with them, and my heart is with them.
You're in there.
I'm
You're
also,
with them in spirit.
Yeah, I'm just going to be laying in bed, getting ready for a full day of driving and eating. So if that's how you want to start your Thanksgiving day, more power to you. I love it. I'm proud of my wife and kiddo for getting out there and doing it. Hopefully we can bundle him up enough that he doesn't freeze. And I'm going to be really enjoying my morning right there in the bed, watching some TV. Might roll over and get another hour of sleep. You just never know. But I'm not going to work, and I'm not going to a turkey trot. So that's just how things are going to start in my house.
All right, starting with the food here. Fried turkey, take it or leave it.
I mean, you got to take it. It's the
I'll
only way.
take it.
The only way. I'm not. I don't want broiled turkey or baked turkey or whatever other way you're going to do it. I want the fried turkey. We started doing that in my family when I was like 10, and now that's like the only thing the men have any control over is we're over there with the turkey and the grease, and we put some okra in there or pork tenderloin sometimes. The ladies have all the sides. They're handling all that in the kitchen. It's a madhouse. But fried turkey is the only way to go, and I'll tell you this. That fried turkey sandwich for leftovers later with a little mayo is getting the job done. Big time. So, yes, fried turkey, got to take it.
All right, next one here. Oyster dressing, take it or leave it.
I've never had oyster dressing.
I've had it, actually. My grandmother, it's one of the things that she makes. She makes the normal dressing, cornbread, but also the oyster dressing. It's interesting.
I'm not opposed at all. I'm not. Oysters are one of those things that I'm fine to eat it. I'm probably not going to order it.
Yeah.
Especially like raw, like char grilled or like fried oysters are fantastic. Obviously, oyster dressing, I'll take it. I've never had it, but if it were offered, I would dive in. It just was never been offered in my situation, so I'm not opposed.
Next one here, green bean casserole. Take it or leave it.
I'm leaving that.
I thought that.
You throw cream and mushroom soup in there, you've lost me, and I don't really care about onion straws on top of things either. My wife makes green bean casserole. She made it for her work, for their work Thanksgiving, and she'll have it for tomorrow for them. And I support her fully in eating it. But you dump a bunch of cream and mushroom soup in there, you've lost me on the dish. So I'm out on green bean casserole. Thank you very much.
Next one, cranberry. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. It's like the bottom of the food chain for me here. Like if there's room, I'm not even that wild about putting it on the turkey as like a compliment.
Yeah.
The turkey's good enough on its own. It's fine. I just don't care about it. I don't even know how it's prepared. Is it in a can?
Well, that's the thing. So a lot of people just buy the can where it comes out and it's like a cylinder and you got to slice it up. But then some people actually make their own cranberry sauce.
I don't even know where we fall on that because quite frankly, I think I'm probably batting like a 40% cranberry sauce rate in my Thanksgiving career. Like, I know I've definitely had it on my plate, but I bet there's more times where I didn't have it on my plate than I did. Whatever.
Yeah, it's never on my plate unless there's some people. I think it's actually my wife's side that somebody makes their own cranberry sauce. That's pretty good, but the type out of the can is not good.
And I will interject here. Those of you who are enjoying Thanksgiving tomorrow with some family, just a little piece of advice. I don't want to sound a little, but don't champion your dish too hard.
No,
you gotta try
can't.
this. You gotta try.
Yeah, don't do it.
Just let people do what they're gonna do in line or at the table. They're gonna figure their own plate out. They can handle it. If you want to tell the 6-year-old they need to try something, get on it. Don't tell the 45-year-old or tell everyone that this is the greatest thing in the world. This is all about real estate on the plate here. You got to manage where things are gonna end up. And I'm not wasting any space on something just because you said it's good. I'll figure out what I'm gonna do with my plate.
All right, next one here. Sweet potato casserole. Take it or leave it.
Gotta take it. Love sweet potato casserole. I'm all in. Brown sugar. We don't do marshmallows at my house. If there's marshmallows in it, I'm all for that too. That's perfectly fine. We're just more of the brown sugar crust at my house. I'm not sure how things will be tomorrow. I have done Thanksgiving with my in-laws, but I don't remember what they do with it. I love sweet potato casserole. I wish I would eat it more than once a year, but it's really good. Can't wait for that tomorrow. I'm in.
All right, last one here. Apple pie. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave apple pie.
Yeah.
Apple pie is a perfectly acceptable food. It tastes good. It is like ninth on my pie list.
Yeah,
I love chocolate pie. I love coconut pie. I love pumpkin pie.
For me, pecan pie is up there at the top.
I like pecan pie as well, although that's down closer to apple pie for me. I mean, my favorite pie is the chocolate pie that my mom makes. It's just awesome. It's cold. this is something I've done way more years than I haven't when I was doing Thanksgiving in Shreveport every year. We usually play golf on Black Friday, and I would wake up before my tea time and eat a piece of cold chocolate pie for breakfast. Now, that is excellent, excellent stuff. Some people probably think that's disgusting. It's great. I love chocolate pie. I love coconut pie. I love pumpkin pie. I'm in on pecan pie. Like, if all you had was apple pie and you served me a piece, I'd probably throw some ice cream on it and be perfectly happy with it. But it's like ninth on the list of pie. It gets too much love. I like some other pies as well, but that's to each their own on Thanksgiving. Enjoy whatever it is you may have. That's it for Take It or Leave It, and that's it for us here on this Wednesday edition. Schneider Golf Mechanics always bringing you our Wednesday shows. Looking for a place to practice, looking for a place to have some fun, looking for a place to pop in for a little bit during lunch. We've had some, Matt Schneider's told me that some folks do that. Go over there and hit a few golf balls. It's climate controlled. You're not going to be sweating when it's 100. You're not going to be freezing when it's 45. It's inside, and it's an awesome way to work on your game or have a little bit of fun. Schneider's Golf Mechanics brings you our Wednesday shows. They're right there on Bluebonnet, just north of I-10. Thanks so much to all of our guests for jumping in. J.D. Piquel, Luke Johnson, and of course our guy, Travis Brown from the Bryan College Station Eagle. We're back Friday. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Let's get ready for LSU and A&M in 48 hours. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hey, boat owners, check it out. It is the holiday season, which means it's time to buy yourself a gift by taking your boat to the next level with our friends at Front to Back Boat Service. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your boat and get it ready for that warmer weather, whether that's trolling motors, HD sonar, anything and everything. The Sherman family's been at it for 30 years, and Devin's going to take you through 30 more. Find him on Facebook at Front to Back Boat Service or go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science